We respect the treaties that were made on these lands and acknowledge that the Park Community Center is located on Treaty 2 lands. I welcome you to the traditional homelands of the Dakota, Anishinaabe, Oji-Cree, Cree, Dene, and Métis people. Welcome to all of you who have chosen to join me for my announcement today. I'm Glen Simard, and I'm announcing my candidacy for nomination for the NDP in Brandon East. To all members tuning in, either live or watching it at a later date on YouTube, I'm excited to be able to share my message with all of you. Circumstances of my announcement are not typical, but the message is the same, whether you're here with me, at home, or on your device. It's time for new energy in the Brandon East constituency and the legislature. I want to bring the same energy I've infused during my dedicated and ongoing service in this city as your next MLA in Brandon East. Brandon East is my home. It's where I live, it's where I work, it's where I play, and it's where I volunteer. These last few years, we've been through a lot as a community, province, and country. In order to keep each other safe, we've had to adapt and change the way that we go about our daily lives. As an educator, I live this reality daily. The fundamentals of masking, distancing, changed teaching practices, and vaccination in the combat against COVID and all of its variants has pushed my colleagues and I to innovate and inspire in ways we could not have conceived when I entered the profession 25 years ago. I cannot emphasize enough the role of our invaluable support workers. They steadfastly provided assistance in our teaching and still play a vital role in getting us through this pandemic. During these times, my colleagues and I are doing our best work under demanding circumstances. We do this under fire from our current government, who has done very little for students. What was their accomplishment for students in these last 5 years? Decreased funding to our education system and simultaneously flopped in their failed Bill 64 attempt, which was to impose what I call copy-paste education reform from failed jurisdictions. It was not only teachers who were left out of the process, but their own education review, which included you, me, and this entire province. We were essentially ignored in this veiled attempt at reformation. This only speaks to the lack of vision that our current government has in tackling the issue of education reform. With 25 years as an educator in this constituency, my extensive experience on the executive of the Brandon Teachers Association, where I worked for advocating for meaningful investments in education, I will bring a strong and passionate voice with respect to this issue. I believe that a keystone principle in the improvement of the education and healthcare systems of our province comes when we address the serious and ever-growing affordability crisis that grips our city. For all of us, it's not only an NDP slogan, but a clarion call to our membership, a message that our community is stronger when all of us can thrive. Taking measures as a government to tackle real problems of affordability in our community is of the utmost importance. We need to take purposeful action against poverty and move towards meaningful reconciliation by including everyone in the conversation. This is something that I will make a priority. My history of bringing people together, then listening to each other, and then understanding each other will only serve this constituency positively. The Manitoba New Democrats, with our leader Wab Kinew, has been working tirelessly to share this message and further engage Manitobans on these issues. And with your help, I cannot wait to be a part of it. Ask our overworked healthcare providers who have been valiantly working with our underfunded, understaffed, pushed to the brink healthcare system. And you will hear the stories of what it means when emergency rooms and wards are closed. Important surgeries are canceled, all while dealing with an ICU crisis that has not been addressed by this government. Is anybody listening? I will. With this new variant on the rise, at what point do we ask that marathon runner to go again as they approach the 26th mile? How much longer can we ignore this treatment of our healthcare providers? How can we continually allow the warnings from doctors and specialists to go unheard? And at what human cost? In a country like Canada and a province like Manitoba, this is inexcusable. We must do better. For me, it's a question of priorities, and I will work to advocate for the people who care for us, not only during this pandemic, but long afterwards. To all of you, caring for Manitobans in personal care homes, hospitals, long-term care, I hear you. And I'll never stop listening. I have given my heart and soul to this community. You've seen me on hockey rinks, volleyball and basketball courts, football fields, at our beautiful Sportsplex track, soccer pitches, and baseball diamonds. I have worked as an association executive member, coordinator, and coach at all of these places. This is because I feel, whether at school or in the community, youth and adults, regardless of background or financial circumstance, deserve access to high quality and meaningful recreation. This pandemic has taught us that these gathering places for Brandonites are an essential part of a community's health and wellness. For all of my adult life, I've been in these spaces, teaching, learning the values of teamwork, positivity, hard work, and fun. I will continually promote increased investment in recreational spaces in our community for both young and old. I've been instrumental in making sure that our city's diverse background is reflected on the pitch, ice surfaces, and diamonds of our city. My days playing Brandon Senior Soccer connected me with a diverse community of immigrants in Brandon. Sport and recreation connects us. While playing and celebrating alongside new Canadians, I grew a very real appreciation of how important, valued, and necessary that this community is to Brandon's prosperity. I have personally provided low-cost hockey programming to our city and to anyone and everyone who wanted to come. Working with a school counselor and a phys ed teacher at an inner city school, I made club volleyball a reality for an athlete who couldn't afford it. Subsequently, my club volleyball team, of which I was a director, made sure we were the lowest priced option in the city. We chose not to operate during the pandemic because of the lack of gym space. And we decided against the more expensive option. Because if we couldn't provide an inexpensive option to kids, we weren't going to price it out for everyone. I played an essential role behind the scenes in making Boyd Stadium at Simplot Millennium Park happen. I also worked very hard in making Brandon's first official-sized cricket pitch a reality this past summer. I was honored when I was asked to bowl the first pitch at their grand opening in July. As you all know, I did not make these things happen on my own, but connected a community of hardworking and dedicated individuals. What kind of candidate will I be? Since my involvement on the Brandon Minor Baseball Executive in 2012, the membership doubled in size. This is because my partners and I, we made sure to surround ourselves with great people and volunteers. We collaborated, we listened, we engaged our membership. We consistently surveyed our membership for their ideas and bring in new voices and perspectives. With community leaders in Sioux Valley, I played a significant role in making sure that they could start a community baseball club and play in the city. I quickly moved to remove any obstacle that would stand in their way. This is how I intend on representing the people of Brandon. I will represent this constituency and all of its citizens, with fervor. I have a deep appreciation and a respect for our community of business that have built Brandon into a great city. I've chosen to make this city my family's home. The aptly named Wheat City relies on agriculture and its service sector as its economic engine. As a person who grew up in rural Manitoba, this will never be forgotten or overlooked. We all look forward to that safe return of the Royal Manitoba Winter Fair, the Provincial X, Ag Days, and other great events in our city. To the business owners listening in today, I will demonstrate and continue to prove my ability to listen, engage, and bring people together and serve our business and community well. My brother and my sister-in-law run a successful automotive repair business in the city. And without their competent, well-trained employees, they'd be hard-pressed to make a living. To that end, Assiniboine Community College and Brandon University and their work in preparing our workers is essential to making sure that our city remains vibrant. We need to invest in these post-secondary institutions, not antagonize. As a graduate of Brandon University, a brother to 2 men with Red Seal certification, and a son to a father with a Red Seal, I can share that a lasting and deeper commitment to these institutions would be of the highest importance. Consider this my invitation to be part of a larger conversation when it comes to bringing new energy to the NDP and Brandon East. Not long ago, 2 consecutive losses for the NDP and Brandon East would have been unheard of. My extensive involvement in this community for the last 25 years and the relationships that I forged throughout the city and in Brandon East during that time positions me to carry the new Democratic flag with the new energy I promised at the beginning of my announcement. I'm looking forward to engaging our membership and working on the road to being your next MLA.